Hi, so welcome to our second video for this week. Okay, so today we're going to talk about more about ano ba? Ano ba pag-usapan natin? Okay, for this second week, first topic for second week is first topic for the second week is more about dynamics. So we're going to talk about the concept of force, components and resultant force, Newton's law of motions, rotations, and force and inertia. So the only objective that we're going to have, okay, for this video lesson is that at the end of this video, you can explain the three laws of motion. You can apply the three laws of motion to infer blah 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 or motion of a particle. And students, you can analyze kinematics and dynamics of rotation and rigid bodies. So actually hindi lang naman ito yung matututunan nyo. So meron pa namang iba. So okay, let's dive into it. Okay, so for okay, so force components and vectors. So before we go into the topic, I'm going to show you something. Okay, so this is a particle that I'm holding right now. So if I'm going to move my hand, okay, okay, so straight lang ako ah. You can see that you can see only one arrow, which is green, right? And if I'm going to do 180 degrees again, you will see the same uh, arrow, which is green. If I'm only moving horizontally, okay. So it's still the same if I'm going to move upwards, only see one arrow, and at the same time, if we're going to push down, you only see one arrow. So the question is, what if we go sideways? Oh, see, we already see two kinds of arrows. We have a green one and a blue one. Now, I'll do a circular motion, okay? I'll do a circular motion. So, pansin niyo ba kapag if I'm doing circular motion, the green and the blue arrow is forming a right triangle which is 90 degrees. Napapansin niyo? Ah, wait lang. Medyo mahirap i-move eh. Di ba yun napapansin niyo? Wait lang. Hirap. Okay, ito na. Ayan. So, see, parang nagna 90 degrees siya. So, anong point? So, the point here is that every any object or even any bodies, any kind of body or particle, if it moves, it can either have a it can either have a blue arrow and a blue and a green arrow. Now, we're only talking about 2D, okay? Or two-dimensional. When we say two-dimensional, we only talk about the x and y axis. So we're not going to talk about the three-dimensional, which is x, y, z axis here. Okay, so we're only going to talk about, let's say, x axis is the green. Okay, it's the green one, and the y axis is the blue one in this case. Okay, so so we have an x axis. Oh, we have a y axis, and we have y axis. We have an x axis, and this is the let's say this is the body. This is the body. Okay, so the movement of that body. Let's say the movement of that body is color orange. So the movement of so the movement so the movement of the direction of of that particular object, this object, okay, depends on the x and the y forces. So hirap naman namin kulay. This is the fy, and this is the f of x. So this is the force of y component and the x component. So this is the force that yung humihila papunta dito, ito yung force na humihila papunta dito. Now again, if I'm going to show you, if there is no if there is no if there is no if you only have one arrow, which means to say that there is virtually no opposing force, which is the x component. See, you only have Ang hirap eh. Pag I only have one. But if we're going to move it sideways, okay, yung hindi siya, oh, di ba? Na lumalabas na arrow. So it means to say, this object will move here or here. But if you're going to move here, you only have one force component, basically. All right. So let's talk about the formulas. So if you're going to remember your analytic geometry, okay. So uh, we have Pythagorean theorem, okay. So you have basically a triangle. Let's say this is a right triangle, okay. We have an angle, and this is let's say side A, B, and C. Now, we know that C is what we call the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. B is the opposite, and D is the A. If we're going to talk about the reference point, which is at this point, okay? If we are standing at this point, okay, the opposite is B, the adjacent is A, and the hypotenuse is always C, which is always the longest side, right? Now, in this case, this is the A, this is the B, and the resultant is what we call C. Now, the resultant is the direction, and the resultant gives us the magnitude and direction of the particle. Okay, the direction, and so it gives us the magnitude and the direction of the particle. Now, the magnitude is always how long the line is. Okay, so it's how long the line is. So for example, if I'm going to show you, okay, so the stronger the force, the longer the line, right, right. Oh, see, pag mabilis, mahaba yung line. Pero kapag mahina lang, mabagal lang, oh, di ba? Ang liit lang ng line. I hope that's clear now. Okay? So this is just the representation though. Okay. So what are the formulas? Now if we're going to remember your analytic geometry and trigonometry, okay? The formula for the hypotenuse is the square root of a squared plus b squared. And the angle between A and C, okay, theta is arctangent uh, tan SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so that's opposite, which is B over the adjacent. SOHCAHTOA. So arctangent B over A. Yeah, B over A. Oh, that's right. Okay. So in this case, we say that the angle of but eraser. See here that the angle that is telling us the direction of the resultant, basically what we're saying is the direction of the particle, okay? So that is theta is equals to arctangent f of y over f of x. And the length of this, or the resultant, is square root of fx plus f of y. So that's it. Okay? So how about we try an example? So let's say this one. Okay, medyo complicated pala. Basic muna tayo. Okay. Wait, hindi ko na buburahin yan. Let's try an example. So I'm going to use pink kasi kikay ako. Now, let's say that we have a particle and the forces that is involved in the particle. Let's say y. Let's say f of x is, let's say 30 meters per squared. Okay. And oh, di pala 30. Let's say it's Newton. Bagay 30 meters per second. Pwede naman, no? Velocity. Oh, pwede naman. Pero malilito tayo eh. Pero kasi ginamit natin dito force eh. Okay, so, okay. Now, i-clear muna natin. We can say force, we can say velocity. So it means to say, we can also denote. So aside from force, any vector quantity can be expressed like this. Okay, so sorry, hindi ko na clear. Hindi ko na clear sa inyo. Baka nalilito na kayo. Yan. Right? So this is the resultant. Okay? So that's it, theta, the same. So this is applicable for Newton. Okay, this is applicable only for vector quantities. Okay? So it means to say, we can say that this is 30 meters per second. Right? This is, let's say, 40 per second. And let's say this one is 30 meters per second. Alright? So, okay. So, let's compute for the resultant, R. What's the resultant, R? Okay. So, the resultant R is equals to square root of 30 squared plus 40 squared. Okay. So, R is equals to, okay. So, this is 50. Okay. 50 meters per second. Now, this is the magnitude, or this is the velocity of the particle. This is the movement of the particle. Now, the question is, what is the angle? So, what is the direction of the particle? Theta is equivalent to r tangent of 40 over 30. Okay? So, shift tangent 40 over 30. Okay? So, that is 50.13 degrees. 53.13, sorry. 53.13 degrees. So, that's the direction. So, it means to say, if we're going to rewrite this one and zoom this out. Okay, we're going to zoom this in. So, our direction is 53.13 degrees with respect to the horizontal, and our resultant, or magnitude, or the direction, or the resultant of velocity is 50 meters per second. So let's try to check this using a simulation. So we'll try to use this one. Okay, so let's say, how many is this one again? This is, ano ba? Ano mag-edit? Values. Paano ba to? Lab. Okay. Let's say, paano ba to? Ben, ang haba naman. Paano ba to? Ba't di ko ma-edit? Hindi ko mahaba. Bakit? Ah, paano ba ito pa napahaba? ma-edit. Hindi ko ma-edit. Sige, pag-uwi na lang natin, hindi ko ma-edit eh. Ano ba? Sige, mamaya na lang. Pag-uwi na lang natin muna. Yung papasok na lang dito. Parang di lang nagbago, no? So, parang ano lang. Okay, so try natin ibang example. Mas maliit. Okay. Sabihin natin na ito ay okay, so this is 15, this is 10. Okay? So 15, 10. So what will be the resultant? So this is 18, 18.03. Okay, so our arctangent is 15 over 10. Okay, so 56.31. Sorry. Nakalimutan ko. 56.31. 31 degrees. So this is 56.30, sorry. 31 degrees and this is 18. Okay, baka ma-confuse kayo. Negative, hindi yan negative. 18.03 meters per second. Okay, let's try to use the simulation. So let's say this is 15. Okay, and we have another one. It's 10. Okay, so we find the sum. Alright, so see? So our sum is 18. Now, the question is, what's the angle? Tada! The angle is 56.3. Alright, so wow, ang galing. Galing. So 18 to 56.3. So that's how you do it. So it means to say that when an object, so what we're trying to say here is that this is the direction of your object. If you're going to have a force like, if you're going to have a speed like this, so the object will move at the speed of 18 meters per second at this direction. Okay, so that's how you compute it using a Pythagorean theorem. And if you're going to look at this one, okay, if you only have, basically, if you only have two vectors, A and B, okay, so yung ika-third, yung actually yung resultant, nag-enclose siya doon sa ginawa mo. Okay, so let's try adding a fourth one. Okay, so let's try adding a fourth one. Going back in this. Okay, so di ba dali lang? Yeah, dali lang. Mamaya pahirapan natin konti. Okay. Okay, delete. Right. So let's try an example wherein we already have four. No? So let's say we have, okay, drawingan ko lang kulay. Let's say we have green, still the same. Okay, so let's try, let's say we have green. We have green. Ba't parang baliktad yata ako? Hindi yata green yan. Blue yan, di ba? So we have green. Okay. And we have, okay, we have blue. And we have another line. Let's say, this one. Okay. So, gawa natin ng kwento ha. For example, ito yung box. Okay, so example lang yung box. So, yung green, let's say, yung green ay tali, pupunta dito. Ibig sabihin, may taong umihila dyan. Yeah, inihila daw niya yan. Tapos, may may engine yung ano, let's say na merong gulong yan. Okay? Let's say may gulong yan ah. Ay, sorry. Let's say na meron siyang gulong. Oh, let's say gamitin na may gulong. Oh. Tapos meron siyang tumatakbo yung ano, meron siyang engine. Okay? Meron siyang engine, tapos padiretso siya straight ah. Straight lang siya, straight ah. Okay? Tapos let's say na merong third force na hangin. So yung hangin, okay? Tapos ganyan, air. Air force. Air force. Okay, air force. Okay? So you have a force here exerting, you also have a force here that moves the box, okay? So we have basically three. So the question is, what is the direction of this object? Will it tilt? Will it go will it move here, or will it go straight, or will it tilt a bit, or will it go say this way? Right? Okay. So sa isang tingin, parang napaka-imposible naman na pumunta dito yung object, di ba? Imposible. So it means dapat dapat papunta siya dito or papunta siya dito. Depende. Now, if I say that I have a force here 1 is equals to 100 Newton. Let's say the force here 2 is equals to 150 Newton. And let's say the force of the air is, let's say, medyo bagyo, no? Ito yung 110. Okay? 110 Newton. Now, itong object na yan, saan kaya pupunta yan? Anong direction? At ano yung mangyayari sa force? So, ano yung magiging force ng object na to combined ng F1, F2 at saka F3. Okay? Siyempre, magkakasama yun eh. Magiging masasama yung force na yan dito sa object na to dahil may 1, 2, and 3. Oh, meron tayong force na nag-i-interact. Okay? So, tingin naman natin ay magkakasama naman sila kasi papunta naman dito ito naman papunta dito. So, ang tendency, pupunta dito yung object, di ba? Tama? Kung titingnan nyo lang naman. But if we're going to solve mathematically, ito yung mangyayari. Okay? So, bura natin to. Total, expert na rin tayo just formula na yan. We don't need it anymore. Okay. So, we delete this one. Okay. So, let's try to solve. Alright? So, let's say we have 150 here, right? We have 150, and we have 100, and we have 110. Okay? So, what will be the direction of the resultant? Alright? So, mamaya pabuguin natin yan. So, first thing that you need to do is you're going to consider all the, okay, so ito na yung tinatawag natin summation of all the f component, x component, and we have the summation of all y component. Okay? Now, medyo tricky kasi dapat ang kukunin lang natin ay lahat ng x and y. Ngayon, if we're going to look at this, merong force diyan. Merong force diyan na hindi siya x at hindi rin siya y. Kasi hindi siya nakaslant siya eh. Ito, nakaslant. Nakaslant siya eh. Hindi siya x, hindi siya y. Therefore, this is like a resultant. Parang resultant ito. But we're not going to talk about that. Yung first step natin is to convert this into its x and y component. So, gagawa natin siya ng mini f component, f of x component. At gagawa din natin siya ng mini f of y component. Okay? So, dito mo tayo mag-focus. Now, may problem dito. Merong kulang sa problem na to kasi hindi sinabi kung ano yung angle. Now, tayo na lang mag-set ng angle. So, sabihin natin ang angle dito with respect to the horizontal, let's say 13 degrees. Okay? Okay, 13 degrees. So, it means to say Means to say, we're going to introduce a new formula. So aside sa mga formula binigay ko kanina, like the resultant is the square root of f of x squared plus f of y squared, and arctangent theta is equals to arctangent f of y over f of x. I'm going to introduce a two new formula, which is the f of x component is equivalent to the force component multiplied by the cosine angle theta, and the y component is equivalent to the force multiplied by the sine theta. Sine theta. Okay, so this is the theta. Okay, so madali lang, di ba? So, if we're going to continue on this one, okay, we have to focus in this one. So, our f of x is, we don't know. So, we have 110 multiplied by cosine. We have 110 cosine of 15 degrees, which is equivalent to, that is 106. We have 106.25 Newton. Huwag kakalimutan ng ang unit. And our f of y is 110 sine of 15 degrees. Okay, so that's 28.47. Tama. Oh, sorry, that's Newton. So, the angle between the two, yeah, that's the angle between the two. So, kung medyo confused kayo, try nyo rin ulit, i-counter check now. So, that's 48 over 106. 106 point, oh sorry, di kasi eksakto eh, no? 48.57 divided by 106.25. Hmm, layo. Nagiging 24 ito. Check ko lang. 110, 10, 15. Oh, 106. Tama naman. 10 sine 15. Oh, 28 lang pala. Sorry. This is 28. Dapat nagda-double check talaga eh. 28.47. Sorry. 28.47 newtons. Okay, try natin ulit. Check natin. Tangent, 28.47 divided by 106. Okay, so tama na yan. Alright, so ito na yung f of y component natin. So it means to say, okay, means to say, our f of x component is 106.25 newtons, and our y component 28.47 newtons. Now, ano yung sinasabi ko kanina na summation of f of x and summation of f of y? So, ito yung gagawin nyo. So, lahat ng going to the right, okay, lahat ng to the right ay positive, lahat ng going to the left ay negative, okay? Ako na nagsabi niyan. Kasi yun ang gusto ko eh. Now, going back here, lahat ng f of x natin ano? Actually, this is also f of x. 110, right? So, this is also f of x. So, we have 100 plus 106.25. And the question is, does this have a x component? No. So, 0 yan. Bakit? Kasi completely 90 degrees yan. Okay. So, walang magiging x component yan kasi siya ay purely y component. Okay, so this is purely y. Okay, so this is purely y component. Okay, purely y component siya. Kasi because sine 90 is equals to 0. That is why it's a purely y component. Okay, so how about the y component? So we have 150 plus 0 because this is purely x component because cosine of 0 is cosine 0 is diba? Cosine of 0 is 1. Okay. So sorry, hindi pala 0 kanina. Sin 90 pala is 1. Ayan. Sin 90 is 1. Okay. Sin 90 degrees is 1. Okay, so sin 90 is 1 and cosine 0 is also 1. Ayan, pagkasyong assist or equal. Alright, so 0 and we have plus, our y component here is 28.47. So a total, okay, so 150, so we have 178.47 newtons for the y component, and we have 206.25 newtons here. Alright, so we already have the total f of x and ito total f of y. Now, we're going to draw this again. Ito na yung parang magiging final drawing. Okay, so this is the f of y, f of x component, which is 206.27 newtons, and we have the new y component, which is equivalent to, that is 178.47 newtons. So this is we're going to compute for the resultant. And what's r? Okay, so obviously r is equivalent to the square root of 206.27 squared plus, then ayusin na lang sa equal ang sulat, the square root of 206.27 plus you have 178.47. Okay, we have 178.47 squared. So r is equivalent to, okay, may bagang calculator ulit. We have 206.27 squared plus 178.47 squared. Okay, so we have 272.76 newtons. Okay, so 6 yan. So what is our theta? Theta is arctangent of 178.47 over 200, 206.27. So this is equivalent to, so our angle is 40 degrees, 40.87. 40.87 degrees. Yes! So ito yung magiging angle niya. 40.87. So ibig sabihin, this object, alright? So this object will move, okay? Ang kanyang respect angle is 40.87 degrees. So obviously, papunta talaga dito. Okay? Pag ganun siya, pag ganun. So ano yung velocity niya? Bumilis ba siya? Bumilis? Oh yeah, bumilis. So dating 150 lang, ngayon ay naging 272. Okay? So yun ang interpretation niyan. So that's how we interpret. Now, i-check natin sa simulation, baka kasi yung assessor equal. Okay, tabi lang natin dito. Oh, bakit si Ladybug? Huwag si Ladybug. Okay, so ulit. So since masyadong malaki, ang gagawin natin, divide natin by 10. No? Divide natin by 10 para yung 150 magiging 15, ang 10 magiging 10, ang 110 magiging 11. Okay? Tapos yung siyempre yung sagot natin, divide by 10 din natin. So, try natin to. So, we have, values muna. So, we have 15 here. And we have 10. Okay, we have 10. And we have another one, which is, that's 11. Okay. 11. Hindi ko magsakto. Ay, nako. We have 11. That has an angle of 15 degrees. Oh, hirap naman. Kasi hindi ko matweak. Kasi hindi ko matweak eh, no. Hirap tuloy. Ah, nako. Yan na lang muna. Either way, medyo malapit lang naman ang sagot. Therefore, we're going to do the sum. Tadaan! Okay, so ang magiging resultant is 27.7. Okay? So, ang sagot natin dito is 272.76. Okay, dahil may mga hindi tayo eksakto, basta malapit sa 27. Okay? So, kasi I said, divide by 10. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung sagot natin, dapat ang lumabas dito ay 27 point something. Okay? So, tama tayo. Now, the angle. Look at the angle. Tadan! Ano yung angle? 40.6. Oh, malapit lang tayo, di ba? So, that's how you're going to do it. So, step by step. So, again, for example, kung marami yan, kung marami yung mga vectors nyo, let's say, vector A, B, C, D, E, yun ang gagawin nyo. You will always think of the summation or combined f of x and combined f of y. Kapag hindi siya straight line like this one, okay, so gagawin niyo yung ginawa ko kanina. Kapag nakaslant yan, you will find the f of x and the f of y component. So ganun lang ang process. So you're only going to think about 1, 2, 3, 4 formulas lang. Okay, so I hope that's clear now. But always, you can try to use this vector lab, okay, using the PET simulation. Okay, alright, so isa natin yan. So I think this is worthy of an assignment, no? Siguro i-post ko na lang to as assignment. So, okay, assignment na lang yan, wag na lang sample problem. So, assignment yan assignment. Okay, so, assignment letter A is find the resultant force, okay, which is R. Okay, and B is the angle theta. Okay, so assignment, hanapin nyo to. So save ko na lang yan mamaya. So that's force components and vectors. Okay, so I hope you understand now kung saan applicable yan. Okay, so siguro ma-realize nyo yan kapag tumagal-tagal pa tayo sa topic. Okay, so that's topic A, and we're going to proceed to topic B. So we have Newton's law of motion. So hindi ko na masyadong elaborate to kasi nga hindi na to bago sa inyo, nadaanan na sa high school to. Pero syempre, review lang ng konti. So we have we have three basic laws of Newton. So law yan ibig sabihin law. Hindi yan theorem, hindi yan postulate. So this is law. This is true. Okay, sa ngayon. So law number 1 is a body at rest will remain at rest and a body in motion will remain in motion unless it is acted upon by external force. Now we already know that this is inertia. Okay, inertia. Second one is that a force acting on an object is equal to the mass of an object times its acceleration, and we already know that this is acceleration. Last one, third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, and this is called the reaction or interaction. Okay, napin lang mga spelling niya sa YouTube. Basta yan. Okay? Now, noong unang panahon kasi, hindi naniniwala ang tao sa concept of gravity. So, ibig sabihin, Newton arrived with the concept of the three laws of motion when he discovered gravity is a force. Kasi noong unang panahon, yung mga tao, alam niyo naman, di ba, mga to see is to believe. Okay? Problema kasi sa to see is to believe. You don't see gravity at all. So, ibig sabihin, kapag may puno, alam mo 'yon, tapos merong apple na nahulog, may apple na nahulog, tapos pak, nahulog sa ulo nyo, piyak, ganun. So, wala namang kamay. Zoom natin ha. Wala namang kamay na humawak din sa apple para mahulog. Wala na namang kamay na nagpumitas dyan sa puno para mahulog yung apple, di ba? Now, being superstitious person, nung unang panahon kasi, masyado kasi superstitious sa mga tao. They believe in ghosts, they believe in whatever they wanna believe in. So, we already know that the concept of gravity is not yet existent before. So, they must have probably think there must be there must be invisible things. Okay, there must be ghost moving objects without without us seeing. Mga ganun tipo. So they say probably that's goes to bump bump the apple in the head of Isaac Newton. But so Isaac Newton said, "No, that's not plausible. That's ridiculous." So he thought of a concept, or he said to himself, "What if there is a force behind the falling objects?" And yeah, so he was correct. There is a force, what we call gravity. We don't see gravity, but we believe there is gravity. So, to cease to believe is bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay? Wala natin yan. So, ihihimay lang natin ng konti. So, a very good example of inertia, law number one, is yung kapag nakasakay ka sa sasakyan, alam mo yan, tapos bigla ka nag-brake, syempre, for example, tumatakbo yung sasakyan mo, boom, tapos biglang nag-brake, shik, tapos biglang, dahil yung katawan mo, nasanay na napapunta dito, papunta ka kasi dito eh, tapos biglang nag-brake, kalaban, tumba ka dito, bagsak, patay. So that's inertia. So it means to say that a body will remain at rest, and a body in motion will remain in motion. So here, you are in motion, now, may brake. Merong external force na nangyari, kumontra, tumba ka. Kasi nga, you will remain in motion. Okay? But an object at rest, let's say an object resting on top of a table, will remain at rest kung walang gumagalaw na object, ay kung walang force, okay? Kung walang force. Okay? So, yun ang sinasabi. So, but there is a catch here. Medyo kailangan siguro i-expound ng konti. Because force can move force can move an object, or it can also make it stop. Because back then, people only believe this first sentence. Force can move an object. So, gumagalaw ang object kapag may force. But they don't understand that force can also force is also the thing that makes an object stop. Okay, so I hope that's clear now. So, proceed tayo sa law number 2. Force acting on an object is equal to the mass of an object times its acceleration. Okay. When we talk about Newton's law, it is like a practical application of life. Take for example, okay. Take for example, this is a sumo wrestler. Wow. And this is me, Payatot. So between the two, if I'm going to be punched by this sumo wrestler, tatalbog ako ng malayo. Okay? Pero kapag ako yung mag-punch dito sa sumo wrestler, hindi siya tatalbog. The reason for this is because I have a smaller mass than the sumo wrestler. Okay? Now, Sir Ikal, meron bang time na kaya mong talbugin itong itong sumo wrestler? Pero yan lang ang mas mo? Well, yes. Yes, this is possible. If I'm going to use rocket boosters. May rocket booster na sobrang laki. Ibig sabihin, pag susuntukin ko siya, naka-rocket booster ako. Parang ganito. Hanapin na natin. Um, Iron Man eating Thanos. Right. Ayan o. So, play natin. So, yan o. Yung ganyan o. Yan o. Yan. Kasi Thanos kasi malaki yan eh. Obvious naman, di ba? Ang laki ni Thanos. Tapos si Iron Man, eh, tao lang yan. Maliit lang yan. Oh. Tapos, ibig sabihin, in order for Iron Man to deal more damage to Thanos, kailangan niya ng rocket boosters. Parang ganyan ako, yeah, rocket boosters. Kailangan niya rocket boosters. So, ganun yun. So, this is a real science. Di siya science fiction at this is true life. So, in order for me to hit this sumo wrestler, kailangan ko ng rocket booster. So, it means I'm going to increase my acceleration. And that's the concept of law number 2. Force is equivalent to mass times acceleration. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kahit maliit lang yung mass ko, kaya kong palakihin yung aking force if I'm going to use a higher acceleration. For example, bigyan tayo ng magandang example. Ako, let's say, sabihin natin, ang bigat ko lang ay 0.1. Okay? Tapos, ang acceleration ginawa ko 1 million. Wow! Ang laki. So, ibig sabihin, 0.110, 100, magiging 100,000 minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sobra-sobra na pala to. Basta ganun yung idea. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sobra pa rin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, isa lang. Means to say, okay, 1. So, magiging 1. So, magiging yan. So, yung force ko ay magiging sorry. Bala dito ako. Force ko magiging 100,000 na lang. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, ang force ko magiging 100,000 na. Kapag gumamit ako ng 1 million meters per second squared na acceleration. Now, kaya ko bang patalbugin si sumo wrestler na may bigat na 300 kilograms? Sabihin natin na ang force na kailangan patumbay, sige, sabihin natin na acceleration niya ay let's say 1, no? So 300 newtons. So this is yung force na kailangan para kay sumo wrestler. So now, yung dati 300 ang for example, kung dati hindi ko siya kayang patumbahin dahil ang acceleration ko lang ay let's say ako dati to 0.1 tapos acceleration ko lang ay 100. So magiging 10 lang ito newtons. Ibig sabihin, hindi ko kayang patumbahin si sumo wrestler kasi nga 300 newton pala siya. So, hindi ko siya mapapatumba. Pero dahil nag-jetpack booster ako, tumaas yung acceleration ko, naging 1 million meters per second squared. Naging 100,000 newtons na ako. Patay. Talbog. Hindi lang talbog, kundi patay si sumo wrestler. Now, using dynamics as well, malalaman nyo rin kung gaano kalayo ang tinalbog ni sumo wrestler if you have a force of 100,000 newton and meron siyang 300 kilogram na mass. So, malalaman nyo rin yung distance kung gaano siya kalayo tumalbog. Okay? So, that's the wonder of physics. That's actually what's a good thing about physics, no? Kung medyo inclined kayo sa science and stuff and then medyo makulit yung imagination nyo, you will really enjoy physics. Okay? So, that's law number 2. So, for law number 3, for every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Okay. My goodness, alas 4 na pala. Kailangan ko na umuwi. Okay. Okay, so for law number 3, It says that when you are a person like this, you are actually exerting a force downwards, and the floor is also causing a force upwards. Okay? So para equilibrium ka lang. Okay? So ibig sabihin zero. So ibig sabihin hindi ka mahuhulog at hindi ka rin lulutang. Alright? So ibig sabihin yun lang yun. So ibig sabihin equal. So kung ano man ang force na ine-exert ko pababa, yun din ang ine-exert na force sa akin ng netong floor pataas. Okay? So equal lang sila technically. Kasi kung sobrang laki ang force na ine-exert sa akin ng ground, ibig sabihin ako tatalon ako. Kasi nga mas mataas yung force niya kaysa sa force na ine-exert ko. At kung mas mataas naman ang force na exert ko sa sahig, ibig sabihin, lulubog ako. Dito na ako. So, yun yung ano, medyo magandang explanation. Right? So, I think ito lang muna. Medyo mahaba na yung video. Continue na lang natin bukas yung rotational motions, and then we have force and inertia. So, I think that's it for this video. We're going to continue again for tomorrow. So, see you again next time. Bye-bye.